All right, so I'm going to try this again. This will be my second time recording the social support and caregiving. So that's what we're going to cover right now. So with social support and caregiving, this is all about what you can do as a caregiver or providing social support. So in the slides, you'll note that there are four types of four types of social support. Emotional support, so lifting someone's spirits, helping them see through their difficulty. Esteem are messages that help promote one's skills, abilities, and intrinsic value. Instrumental is assistance received from others that's tangible, things physically done in order to provide assistance. And then finally, informational, concrete and direct ways to assist, advising, guidance, suggestions, and useful information. With social support, these are behaviors that are going to be direct or indirect, and they're going to communicate to an individual that he or she is valued and cared for. So it could be confronting a friend, complaining about a problem, listening to others who are grieving, providing data to acknowledge others, right? So most people perform more supportive behaviors than they actually realize. And social support has a positive effect on people's health and moods. So research shows that supportive behaviors and communication can speed healing, reduce stress, lessen pain, and build self-esteem. And the benefits go both ways. So whether you're giving the support or receiving the support, people who provide support often feel an increased sense of worth and personal strength themselves. In the simplest sense of social support, it's people helping people, right? So follow this definition on the slide. And some theorists even consider that the central function of social support is increasing a person's sense of control. So the view has been substantiated by research that people cope best when they feel well-informed and actively involved. So let's move to coping. So coping is the process of managing stressful situations, and everyone is affected by stressful situations. It can be daily hassles, clear to threatening, life-threatening occurrences, right? And there's some evidence that people's everyday coping skills are more important to their moods and their health than the way that they cope with the major crises. This is done in two ways. It involves two efforts or two parts. First is problem solving. So when you can change something, you do, so change what can be changed, and emotional adjustment. So this is the person adapts to what can't be changed. So of course, it's not always easy to know which problem can and can't be changed and what to do in each situation. The options are going to vary according to the people and the circumstances involved. Often, coping strategies depend on how much control people believe they have over their situation. Then we've got health self-efficacy and health management. So when we believe that we can manage our health successfully, we are said to have high health self-efficacy, and we're more likely than others to maintain healthy lifestyles. This is a sense of self-efficacy that might be fostered by positive experiences in the past, encouragement from others, and a cultural belief that people control their own destinies. So the sense of control is called internal locus of control, and it's a culturally based thing. So locus of control is more general than health self-efficacy, although the two are often very related. Many North Americans have an internal locus of control, and as a result, they are change-oriented, hardworking, but they might be frustrated with failure and feel baffled and betrayed when things don't work out as they planned. People who believe they control their own fate may be reluctant to ask for help, and they may believe that they are responsible for what happens to them, both good and bad. Faced with ill health, they might question, what did I do to cause this? Even assured that no one is to blame, these type of people often feel guilty and ineffectual. By contrast, people who do not believe, and so that's the internal locus of control. So by contrast, people who do not believe that they can change their health for the better have low health self-efficacy. And this is common in cultures where people believe in fate and that events are controlled by outside forces. And this is external locus of control. Because of their beliefs in fate, these people are characterized as fatalistic. They are likely to regard things and events as God's will or the natural order of things. An example with external locus of control would be they believe in bad luck and the world was against them. People with low health self-efficacy may not be motivated to take personal action regarding their health. Even if they are aware of healthy diets, they might not change their diet because they don't have control or they believe they don't have control. In fatalistic cultures, people may reason it makes no sense to change my lifestyle because I'm going to die sooner or later, or I'm sick because God willed it to be, right? So, adolescents with an external locus of control are more apt to follow the crowd, what everybody else is doing. And coping strategies might be affected by cultural beliefs and perceptions of self efficacy. People with high self efficacy are typically problem solvers and highly motivated to protect their own health. So, crisis. We need to talk about crises and crisis situations. So, it's an occurrence that exceeds someone's normal coping ability. And the first sign is usually a sense that things are out of control, and this might give way to a panic or denial. People in crisis are likely to feel that things have changed, possibly even forever. And during difficult times, people often yearn for the simplest routines that characterize everyday life. It may seem that life can never be that way again. Following a death, grieving loved ones may people may wonder how they will ever resume daily activities, and when they feel so sad and disconnected from things that feel normal. It's common for people in intense grief to momentarily forget how to perform simple routines such as driving. A major crisis may serve as a turning point or a dividing line for these people, and people affected by serious illness feel that their life has two parts: the time before and the time after, because the circumstances are so radically altered that nothing feels the same. And when we're talking about feeling the same, we go into normalcy. This is the sense that things are familiar, predictable, and comfortable. And it seems like such an easy concept, but being normal is not as easy as it sounds. Um, it requires cooperation on your own part, the part of others, as well as from strangers. And consider it the plight of people with disabilities. So think of, people, the toughest challenge is not learning to use the wheelchair, say you were in an accident. It's not that tough to learn to use the wheelchair or other tasks. It's instead trying to resume that sense of life as it usually is. And even though you may not be in the same situation, you can't return to that normal life or normal life. Without this, they're trapped in this crisis-like state, excluded from the comfortable life. Um, so, as a person of social support or caregiving, you need to engage in casual conversations, talk about politics, talk about sports, talk about something other than the disability. And when people behave as if others who are disabled are unlike other people, they continue to perpetuate this sense of crisis and alienation that they can never get back to their normalcy. So there are two theoretical perspectives on coping strategies that really explain why social support helps people and why it's beneficial to have others around. The first is the buffering hypothesis. So people are there to help us from feeling overwhelmed with information and or assistance, right? So you're in a crisis situation and people are there to help you from getting overwhelmed. And then there's the direct effect or main effect model. It's referred to as both, so I don't care what you call it. Um, this states that support is helpful even when we aren't experiencing a stressful event. It gives us this continued reassurance. So you might be doing okay, but having somebody tell you that you matter, you have value, you have worth. You're not in a situation of crisis, but you're still getting the support. Next, we need to talk about allowing emotions because sometimes in a crisis situation, we don't let people feel those emotions. So, first, don't assume that people are okay because they don't seem emotional. Some people don't show emotion, other people are just quiet and shy, and they often go overlooked or ignored or misunderstood because they're not showing these telltale signs of being emotional. Next is allowing for open communication. Um, People like to talk openly and honestly, and they usually benefit from these opportunities. Next, don't minimize the situation to cheer somebody up. So, a little thing about me, my mom died almost a year ago, and there were several people who allowed me to talk through things and work through things. My therapist was wonderful, but there were a lot of people that were like, well, it could always be worse. Yeah, it could, but at that time, it didn't feel like it. So don't minimize the situation. And then finally, be honest. Be honest with your own emotions while you're caregiving. Be honest with your emotions when you're receiving social support. And then finally, keeping your social networks active. So, a lot of times when we need social support, we close ourselves off because we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to bother other people. But people need support even when they seem okay. So, providing others, always having that kind smile for somebody because you don't know what they're going through. Keeping your friends and family around are important. So, not closing yourself off, not shutting them out. Simple gestures are meaningful. So if you know somebody's going through a tough time, take them out to lunch. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't even have to cost any money. Drive around, do something that's simple, but it will probably be meaningful. Keeping family and friends informed and making sure they feel welcome. There's nothing worse than when somebody's trying to help you and you just keep shutting them out that you don't want them there. And then finally, health professionals can assist with communication strategies. So, talking to therapists, going in or reaching out to somebody who doesn't know you and doesn't know your situation. Finally, again, you don't have to turn this in or anything, but think about a time that you provided social support. Think about the types of social support. How would each of them apply to either one or multiple experiences? If you can't think of any, then make something up. Um, but think about how you've given social support. All right, so that is where we'll end for that slide. Next, or that lecture. Next, we're going to cover health communication and culture. All right, I'll see you in the next video.